22 dead, dozens hurt as suicide terror returns to Israel.
We will continue in our present policy to relentlessly pursue the terrorists.
New crackdown here on illegal guns after more shootings. And Roy Jenkins, who changed the face of British politics, is dead.
The ITV Weekend News with Nicholas Owen.
Good evening. 22 people were killed and at least 100 injured when two suicide bombers unleashed terrorist attacks in Tel Aviv tonight. The first bomb was exploded in a crowded restaurant. The second went off as people ran in panic from the first. Two Islamic terrorist groups said they carried out the bombings. The Israeli Prime Minister condemned the Palestinian leadership for the atrocity. From Israel, John Irvine reports.
This is the first double suicide attack in Tel Aviv, and it exacted one of the highest death tolls so far. One bomber detonated his explosives inside a busy restaurant. Then, just a few minutes later, in the midst of pandemonium, the second bomber struck. They'd selected a run-down district in the city home to illegal foreign workers, not a secure area by any means. The attack brought this reaction from Israel's Prime Minister.
All attempts to reach a ceasefire, even today, are failing due to the Palestinian leadership that continues to support, fund, and initiate terror.
It's more than 6 weeks since Israel has had to deal with such an atrocity. That was in Jerusalem, and it provoked a series of raids by Israeli security forces who arrested and killed dozens of suspected Palestinian militants.
We will continue with this relentless pressure until we are able to maintain that kind of calm that we all want.
The Israeli authorities maintain such offensives prevent many more attacks of this kind from happening, but Palestinian leaders repudiate that claim and accuse Israel of provoking the suicide bombings. John Irvine, ITV News, Jerusalem.
Retaliation for the bomb attacks was swift. In the last hour, Israeli helicopter gunships fired at least 9 missiles at targets in Palestinian-controlled Gaza City. It's not yet clear if there were any injuries. The Home Secretary, David Blunkett, is preparing a major crackdown on gun crime this week, including a crisis summit and new minimum sentences for gun possession. The two girls gunned down last week in Birmingham, whose deaths have highlighted the need for urgent action, were remembered in prayers at special services today. Here's Angus Walker.
In their local church in Birmingham, the lives of the two teenage girls shot dead last week were remembered with prayers. The community coming together, still shocked and appalled by the violence.
I think everybody should take heed of what's happening and, be cooperative in everything.
It's time for us as black people to unite and come together and do better than what we are doing.
But there have been more shootings across Britain over the weekend. In a village near Nottingham, a man was taken to hospital with bullet wounds in his leg. And in Hounslow in London, a man was shot near his home. 2 men were seen running away.
There are some interesting new trends. We're seeing guns increasingly used in lower level crime, and there's the whole problem of young people posing with firearms. These are issues which need to be addressed.
So just what is the government doing about gun crime? Tomorrow, the Home Secretary will announce fixed 5-year jail terms for anyone using illegal firearms. On Wednesday, they'll target the flow of weapons into the country. On Thursday, new figures are expected to show a dramatic increase in gun crime. And on Friday, David Blunkett will host a summit of police chiefs, immigration officers and community leaders. Ministers are also considering a ban on air guns and replicas, like this blank-firing pistol bought legally by ITV News. It's possible to modify these weapons to take live ammunition.
Another shooting on a British street and another victim of the rising levels of gun crime. And it's the everyday nature of violence involving firearms that the government hopes to tackle this week. Angus Walker, ITV News, West London.
Lord Jenkins, a radical social reformer and a tough Labour Chancellor who helped form a breakaway party which inspired New Labour, died today aged 82. Tony Blair described him as one of the most remarkable people ever to grace British politics. Harry Smith looks back at his life.
He was one of the most radical Home Secretaries of the century. In the liberal atmosphere of the 1960s, he introduced far-reaching reforms in divorce, abortion and homosexuality. He then went on to become the original Iron Chancellor, but although he was often tipped as the next Labour leader, he will best be remembered as the man who walked out and tried to destroy the party he'd served.
Not the little foothold, but the big breakthrough, to elbow the Labour Party out of the way and to defeat the Conservative government.
It was 1981, and disillusioned with Labour's lurch to the left, he joined the other gang of four to form the Social Democratic Party. Although it eventually merged with the Liberals, the shockwaves from that breakaway are still felt in politics today.
He founded the New Labour. I mean, Tony Blair was a pupil of Roy Jenkins. Break with the unions, break with socialism, a centre party, pro-European, pro-American, pro-nuclear weapons. That's what it was about.
The son of a Welsh miner and committed Labour campaigner, Oxford-educated Jenkins first entered Parliament in 1948. One lifelong political opponent and fellow undergraduate says he was much more than just a great politician.
The breadth of his activities and his interests was so great that I admired his capacity in all of these different interests. And it's something which is so often lacking in politicians.
Always a committed European, he served for a time as president of the European Commission. In later life, he was Chancellor of Oxford University. The Prime Minister described him as one of the most remarkable people ever to grace British politics. Harry Smith, ITV News.
Police investigating the discovery of body parts found in bin bags have tonight charged a man with the murder of 3 women. Anthony Hardy was arrested after being caught on CCTV last week. Hardy, who's 51 and from Camden, North London, will appear in court tomorrow. One of the dead women has still not been identified. There was a major scare in the skies above Frankfurt in Germany today after a man hijacked a plane and threatened to crash it into the tower of the European Central Bank. Military jets were scrambled as the plane circled the city for about an hour. The plane later landed safely and the hijacker was arrested. Football, and there was a big shock in the FA Cup today as Division 1 underdogs Wolves beat Premiership side Newcastle. Captain Paul Ince got Wolves off to a great start with this goal after just 6 minutes. They squandered a 2-0 lead before striker George Nadar grabbed the winner just after the restart to give Wolves a memorable 3-2 victory. At Manchester City, a Mark Vivian Foe handball gave Liverpool the chance to end their long run of games without a win. Danny Murphy made sure with the penalty, the only goal of the match, to give Liverpool a 1-0 victory. So, confirmation of those FA Cup third-round results, plus in today's other match, Fulham beat Birmingham 3-1. That's it from the Weekend News team. Goodbye.